Hello, and thank you for watching this November 2nd weather update, brought to you by Agrible, the makers of Morning Farm Report. My name is Eric Snodgrass, and I'm a senior atmospheric scientist and co-founder of Agrible. This map shows the last 7 days of accumulated precipitation. Thanks to the remnants of Hurricane Patricia and the passage of a cold front on Halloween, most of the Corn Belt saw better than a half an inch of rainfall this past week. Many locations have been quite dry in the Midwest, so for some, this rain was quite welcome. Now that harvest is nearly complete, the field prep for this fall has started. This rain will help fields break down harvest residue and aid in nitrogen application. For some, though, these rains were too much. From eastern Texas through Louisiana into southern Mississippi, more than 10 inches of rain fell last week. The state of Texas has been on a roller coaster ride in terms of precipitation this year. This graph shows the accumulation of precipitation since January 1st for Austin, Texas. The lowest line represents the driest year on record. The blue line is the wettest. The smooth sloping line represents average, and the line with the shading beneath it represents the accumulated rainfall for 2015. Heavy rains in May and June had this part of Texas primed to have its wettest year on record. Then, on July 1st, the rain stopped. Very little accumulated between July 1st and the end of October. But in the last few days of last week, Austin received over 10 inches of rain. That is the equivalent of a third of a year's worth of rainfall for them. Sadly, many were caught off guard and were swept up by the floodwaters. In this video, we can see several cars stranded on 71 as waters flooded the entire road. Traffic was completely stopped on the other side, but a few cars decided to wade through the water, only to stall out and find themselves in need of rescue. Speaking of being rescued, this driver was swept away by the floodwaters. As he floated downstream, he recorded this video to say that he had called 911 and was waiting for rescue, and that he loved his family. Well, meanwhile, floodwaters raced across this wooded area and stranded this person. The person shooting the video yelled to them to let them know that there was nothing she could do to help. One wrong move in water moving this fast, and this person would be swept away. Well, after such a wet week, what can we expect in terms of precipitation this week? Peanut harvest in the southeast and east coast will have to deal with some early week rainfall that sticks around through Tuesday night in the Carolinas. Thankfully, rain moves out of Texas and Louisiana, giving way to a dry week in the south. In fact, most of the Corn Belt has a dry week, which is great for those trying to finish harvest and prep fields for this fall and winter. The next time rain moves through the heartland will likely be the very end of this week on Friday, as another low-pressure system is likely to form and track across Missouri and Illinois. We will watch for the timing and strength of this low to see just how much rainfall is expected. Current model forecast amounts suggest about a half inch to more than an inch and a quarter across the region through which this low-pressure center will track. The really good news is that a large trough digs into the west coast of the United States by Tuesday morning. This map shows the position and speed of the winds in the jet stream. This trough will introduce cold air out west and quite a bit of precipitation. The Sierra Nevada mountains in north central California are expecting more than a foot of snow, and the nearby valleys are expecting quite a bit of rain. This is desperately needed as the reservoirs in California are woefully low and need replenished. We can also see that from this forecast snowfall map that several inches of snow are predicted to spread across the Rockies too. Well, the consequence of having a deep trough in the jet stream out west is a ridge in the jet stream in the central and eastern United States. Ridges are associated with warm air, and temperatures for the start of November are looking quite warm. This map shows how warm Monday will be compared to average across the United States. Notice how only the west coast, where the trough is located, and North Carolina and Virginia, where it will be raining, are forecast to be cool. Looking longer term, the next cool down for the central United States arrives on Friday. This animation shows the next 7 days of temperatures, and it is clear that the first week of November will be quite warm. These temperatures are fueled by southerly winds for most of the week. The cold front at the end of the week takes the central United States into more typical November weather. However, Next week looks to be warmer than average again across the eastern two-thirds of the country. This map shows the 8 to 14-day forecast for temperatures, and it looks as though the first third of November will be a continuation of October's warmth. Well, to finish, let's briefly turn our attention south towards Brazil. As we forecast last week, spring rains have returned to central Brazil. This image shows the last 7 days of accumulated precipitation in South America. While Mato Grosso has been quite dry leading into the return of the spring rains, this graph clearly shows how regular rain has been falling for the last week of October. November promises to continue this trend. We can see here that more rain is expected over the next 7 days in Brazil's prime growing region. Paraná and Mato Grosso do Sul will dry out a bit to start the week, which is good given how wet they were last month. We are expecting another big year for yields in Brazil. Well, as always, we at Agrible will bring you the latest and best weather forecast information through our morning farm report so that you can efficiently plan your operations. We thank you for your attention and hope you look forward to our next weather video update. Thank you.